Hey there, I'm Ben, and today we're talking about Apple Vision, CHAT GPT, and apparently the end of the fucking world. Okay, so I've seen a lot of people online moaning about the advent of Apple Vision as essentially the beginning of the end. There are many, often older people, who would seem to be convinced that this is essentially the beginning of the digital apocalypse, a harbinger of our worsening addictions to smart devices. And I guess the thing to note here is that, yes, this could go horribly wrong, but it's up to our generation and the generations to come to shape this technology, to organize and boycott and protest until it's as good for consumers as it can be. Now, that might sound a little grandiose, me thinking that we could stand up to the likes of Apple, but I'm going to go through some examples of this working in the past, as well as the exciting future that I see for this technology and really any product like Apple Vision. Now, I need to be honest, I've been anticipating and designing products like this in my head since I was a little kid, and shit, if I had had the money, I probably would have tried to develop a product like this. For me, the idea of a data-enriched reality is a very exciting one. There's a big gay, nerdy part of me that can't wait to see how people enhance their appearances, express their identities, make art, and redefine the world as we see it. And yes, that includes furries. I'm sorry. Because to me, that's what augmented reality has the potential to do. The possibilities are endless. Imagine a vision system that could help me instantly identify and avoid Nestlé products. Magic. And yes, I'm aware that Apple and Foxconn have their own issues, something ethical consumption under capitalism. We'll talk about that in a bit. One of the really huge concerns, which of course people have here, is the idea of Apple and Facebook essentially having control over and maybe insight into everything that you see on a daily basis. Trust me, I am not oblivious to these issues. Silicon Valley, especially Facebook, has an atrocious track record when it comes to our privacy and well-being, especially when given the choice between that and money. Money blindness is a very real disease. Talk to your doctor about it. I regularly think about how algorithms are trained to understand when you're happy, sad, or horny so as to push the right content, and it's horrifying to me that this isn't being used to help people track their mental health. The insane, greedy, money-grubbing, myopic, pathetic ignorance of this is heartbreaking. We develop tech that can track your mood based on what you watch, and instead of gaining a tool to improve our understanding of mental health, the best that the great minds at Facebook and TikTok could do was sell us shoes. So, should we burn this tech? Should we shun Apple Vision and CHAT GPT? Well, let's rewind a little. Bear with me. In the 5th century, I said bear with me, Emperor Shun reportedly executed a man for having invented what might have been described as a flying machine of some sort, and before having him killed, he's quoted as basically saying, it's a great invention, but it threatens the kingdom's stability, so I gotta kill you and burn your flying thing. All that to say that there's danger in the hubris of believing that you can stop progress, but there's more danger in believing that you can't influence its direction. And, as a union-busting Nazi once said, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. I guess even a broken clock is right twice a day. Ultimately, there is no escaping progress. We can shape it, but we cannot run for it. At the end of the day, the only tech we cannot burn is fire. What we can do is fight Apple and Facebook, hold them accountable, and organize. And I know this isn't like a standard tech video, but I think this discourse is really important in the tech space, and it's not something I see other people talking about, so here we are. And that's really it. That's the big important thing that you need to know. The tech giants of the world can pretend they're aloof or unstoppable, but at the end of the day, when normal people organize and demand better, we often get it. This is a fight we can win, but we won't win unless we fight. Honestly, that's the point of the video, but I'm going to dig into some more issues and provide some examples as promised. Obviously, it's easy to feel powerless as an individual, so here are 5 times protests led to some of the biggest, most powerful companies in the world being forced to make some changes. First and foremost, fuck Nestlé. First and foremost, the Nestlé and infant formula scandal of the 1970s. Nestlé faced a global boycott in the 1970s due to its aggressive marketing of infant formula in developing countries, which led to a decline in breastfeeding rates and health issues for infants. The boycott and consumer pressure eventually compelled Nestlé to change its marketing practices, implementing a code for the promotion of breast milk substitutes and support breastfeeding education initiatives. Just wanted to put a little addendum onto the Nestlé thing. Interestingly enough, I used CHAT GPT to create some bullet points, which I would then fact check, of course. And one of the things that it left out when talking about the Nestlé and infant formula scandal is that not only did it cause health problems, it caused deaths. It caused deaths in children, babies, breastfeeding babies. And Nestlé just did not bat an eye. It's terrifying to me that it took the pressure that it did to change their minds, but it did. And I think it's worth. Nestle is There are so many other examples of horrible things that Nestle has done, but this is just one more of the really horrible things that they would have kept doing if people had not literally come into the streets. Next would be Shell and Brent Spar, 1995. Shell's plan to dispose of an oil platform, the Brent Spar, by sinking it into the North Sea faced massive backlash from environmental activists and consumers. Greenpeace led a boycott campaign urging people to avoid Shell's product, which is still a pretty good idea, just saying. The boycott and public pressure led Shell to abandon its sinking plan and instead dismantle and recycle the platform on land. SeaWorld and captive orca whales, 2010s. The documentary film Blackfish shed light on the treatment of orca whales in captivity at SeaWorld parks, leading to widespread public outrage. Consumer protests, including petitions, social media campaigns, and declining attendance, prompted SeaWorld to end its orca breeding program and phase out live orca shows. Lastly, Google and Project Maven. Google faced internal employee protests and public backlash after it was revealed that the company was working on Project Maven, a controversial military contract involving artificial intelligence for analyzing drone footage. Thousands of Google employees signed a petition urging the company to cancel the project due to ethical concerns. As a result, Google decided not to renew the contract and established a set of principles guiding the company's use of AI, which, I mean, if we come to the modern day, there's lots to talk about there. But anyway, there are more examples of tech companies bending the knee here, but it's important to note that things like Discord, Telegram, and yes, even Facebook allow us to organize like never before. In the same breath, we also have to acknowledge that a safer internet is one where no one owns all the real estate. Facebook isn't going to push posts about boycotting Facebook. The division of power here is essential to a free and open internet. That's something else we need to fight for. We can have our cake and eat it too. Again, the important thing to note here is that sometimes we have to organize like hell to get it. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you're here, know that I love and cherish you. Also, again, I mean, I'm obligated to say this. So, oh, you're back. Wow, she really knew, hey? She really knew.